This subject in the first hour of the program went absolutely bananas. My phone lines and text lines were overloaded with comments from you on this. And I will give you an opportunity here if you want to send me a text, 514-790-0800, or call if you tried to call in earlier but couldn't get on the air. You got another chance here as we talk about the return to the office. Now, one of the biggest employers in the country is continuing the trend of forcing employees back to the office. This time it's Rogers. They're mandating that employees come back to the office 4 days a week by October, and get this, 5 days a week by February of next year. This adds to the steadily growing list of top Canadian employers requiring a return to the office for 4 or 5 days by the fall. Is the jig up when it comes to working from home? Let's find out a little bit more. Annie Boilard joins us, president of Reseau Annie RH. Annie, welcome to the program.
Hi, Mr. Mekas.
So, I guess this is your game here, dealing with workplaces and how employers handle this. What's your take on what we're seeing? Canadian banks have spent all summer telling their employees 4 days a week by the fall. What's your take on everything we're seeing?
There's two things happening simultaneously. First, there is employees feeling frustrated, disappointed about their employer. Employees, they feel like they've done their part of the deal. They maintained their efficiency throughout the time where they were working from home. They feel like this is unfair. Nothing changed. Why is it that you're calling us back to the office? And we can understand what they're going through. And on the other side, there is the point of view of the employer, who obviously looks at it differently because they got different conclusions. It's interesting to ask yourselves, what changed? What's happening this fall season 2025? Why was it last year? What's new this year? So there is a few things, and I would say three things that are moving a bit in terms of indications that we have. The first thing is we saw at the spring season that the satisfaction of employees in Canada is a bit decreasing. So people are a bit less enthusiastic about their work. In itself, it's nothing. It shouldn't be interpreted as something more important than what it is. But sometimes people who know a bit less about, human resources and motivation for employees, they can understand that if people are less satisfied, they'll be less motivated, which is wrong. It's not the equation they should do, but some people see it this way. So since people are less motivated and less satisfied at work, some employer can think that, okay, I'll bring them back at work. Maybe it's going to change. Something else that is changing, time is passing. My point being, when we looked at the situation after the pandemic, of course, we had data based on a small amount of time. Now we're 3-4 years later? Mm-hmm. We see things, the fact that people are working from home has an impact on the employee, and it changes with time. For example, throughout the world, we're noticing now that employees are feeling more lonely at work. And a lot of people are thinking that it's related to the fact that they work from home. Uh-huh. So that's one of the things that has changed.
Can I ask you, do we have any research as to productivity or results or any other metric that a business would analyze if they're headed in the right direction? Do we have any research that says, hey, we got to get our employees back in the office?
Okay. No, we don't. And we don't have the other way around neither. Mm. That's complicated. And the heart of the question you're asking is, how do we define productivity? Because the employee will look at it saying, I'm doing that task you're asking me to do. I was supposed to, send 12 emails today. I sent 12 emails. My productivity remains the same. Maybe I even sent 13, 14 emails today. So I'm even more productive when I'm working from home. Mm-hmm. That's the employee's point of view. But the employer's point of view looks at it and says, well, yeah, I'm paying you to send those 12 emails a day. But on top of it, you're also part of a team. We have a culture, a business culture that is important to us. And you're also a very important piece when we integrate new employees joining the team. And you have something to do with this too. So employers are looking at it, and productivity, they don't interpret it the same way employees do. It's not just the task that the employees have to do. It's the overall situation, including the business culture, the leadership culture, the interaction, the team spirit. all of that included.
We're with Annie Boilard, who's president of Reseau. Annie, RH. We're talking about the return to the office. More and more Canadian corporations are forcing employees back for 4 or even 5 days a week. Let me read you, Annie, a text message from a listener. Sherry writes us this. Elias, with kids, I've got kids. The past 5.5 years, I've had to take 0 sick days for myself, 0 sick days to stay home and take care of my kids, 0. My work-life balance is so much better. Rushing to bring kids to school, rushing to pick them up and make dinner. The commute, for what? My job involves communicating with clients and associates by email only. I am way more productive at home because I have no stress when there's a big project to get done because I can work on it when I want. I currently go into the office 1 or 2 days a week, and when I go, I just get interrupted by people who want to chat. When I think back to the life before working from home with babies, I don't know how I didn't burn out. So that's from one listener, Sherry, Annie. Why aren't all employers looking at this more when they make these decisions to force people back?
Yeah, and we feel there is frustration about coming back to the office, and we understand their point of view. I'm not saying employers are right to bring people back to the office, though. Please understand me. I think that the system that works the best is the hybrid system. A bit of work at home, a bit in the office. That's what works the best. Now, when Sherry is saying, why is it that they don't just be in peace, let me work from home? Probably the employer looks at it and says, well, it sounds different in the ears of an employer. First, I haven't taken any sick days or any absence whatsoever for the last 5 years because it's easier for me. I can manage my life. There's a few things here that sounds a bit bizarre for an employer. First, if you're sick, if you need a day off, take a day off. Employers, they don't want people to burn out and not to take a day off just because they're working from home. So it's a bit different. Something else. Well, how come it's so easy to you don't rush, you go pick up the kids whenever it's convenient for you, you bring them back at home after that? Well, is all the hours that you're supposed to worked properly sometimes? So I'm not saying Sherry's wrong. I'm just saying there's another way to look at it. And often the last thing the employer can do is when they bring people home, they don't to the office. They don't have to bring them from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. Sometimes they can say, well, let's be in the office between 10 and 2 o'clock, for example. So people still have flexibility with their time.
So let me ask you, because in this case for Rogers, right, they're saying 5 days a week and there's no exceptions. Everyone's got to be in 5 days. But listen, if you got to take care of a family member, you got to do a child care, that kind of stuff, we'll be flexible in your day in order to make sure you can do that. But it's still 5 days a week. That we're not flexible on. What do you think of that? What do you think about that policy? Is it too far?
Yeah, well, that's not what I would have done, that's for sure, because we know the hybrid system works pretty well, and it helps employees and employers. So I think it's hard, it's difficult, it's not very flexible. I hear the point where if you need to take care of someone, we'll be flexible with your schedule, but you still have to come to the office. But at the end of the day, it's the employer's decision. So if that's what they think is what will help the most their company, that's probably why they're going this way. There is probably something underneath. They believe it's going to help better the employee. They can maybe better support their employees. There must be something behind it.
Do you think they'd want a certain amount of people to leave on their own? Like, because some people are going to say, no way I'm doing that. And then they'll just leave, right? And you don't have to pay severance. You don't have to. Could that be part of this too? Like sort of getting people to leave without firing them?
Well, I don't think so, because when you do that, you never know which one will leave and which one will stay. So it's not really a good strategy.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. Something else too is we still have in mind shortage of talent and of employees that we had 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. But now the unemployment rate in Canada is 7.1%. So there is not that much, I'm going to leave and I'll join another company that will let me work from home. Yes, sometimes for some expertise, some industry. But in general, it's not as easy as it was or it used to be for employees to change employer. So I don't think that would be the thinking of the employer of Rogers doing this policy at this point.
Hey, Annie, really insightful stuff. I want to thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
You too. That's Annie Boilard, who's president of Reseau RH.